Good evening, everybody. Chris Hansen, and you are now having a seat with me on my YouTube channel, Have a Seat with Chris Hansen. Thanks very much. I hope everybody had a wonderful holiday, taking a little bit of time off. We sure did yesterday. But we're back at it with our continuing investigation into Onision and Kai. And tonight we have a very special guest, a guest named Adam, and that's as far as we're going to go to identify him tonight. Out of privacy reasons, Adam is a young man who is transitioning from being a young woman. Certain people know that, certain people do not. Here are two people who do know it, and those are Onision and Kai, who took advantage of Adam in a very personal and devastating way. And I want to welcome to the show right now, Adam. Thanks so much for being with us tonight. I appreciate it. I hope you had a wonderful holiday. We are keeping Adam's picture just a little dark out of respect for privacy reasons. As you know, some of the people who've been on the show have requested some privacy for a couple different reasons. We respect that. But Adam, thanks. How are you tonight?
Hi, Chris. I am good. Thank you for asking.
Excellent. Let's go back to the beginning, Adam. How old were you, and how did you first come across Onision, Greg Jackson?
I was probably around 12, and I found his skits on YouTube because they were recommended towards me.
And what was it about Onision's skits that appealed to you at 12 years old?
You know, being the edgy 12-year-old kid I was, I liked his quote-unquote dark sense of humor.
That appealed to you?
Yes. I liked his skits about, like, he could make fun of anything, and I guess I liked that really about him.
And how long did it take before you actually had some sort of contact with Kai or Greg?
It was 5 years later when Kai was asking people to be part of his videos.
Got it. Did you relate to Kai because Kai was also, according to Kai, transitioning from being a young woman into being a young man?
No, I related to Kai because when he first started appearing on Onision's channel as quote-unquote Ladybot, he used to wear a lot of band shirts and that peaked, and he was very, very pretty, and me being the very young kid I was, I had a slight crush on him.
Did you see these people as celebrities, Adam?
Yes.
And take me back through the initial conversation with Kai. How did that go? You sent some pictures into the forum, or tell me about that.
So he was on Snapchat. He was like, I'm looking for people to be in my Would I Date You Snapchat edition. Send in your pictures and stuff. Send in your pictures, your age, and your name, or your like pronouns or whatever. And I did, and he opened it, and my heart like stopped for a quick second because I was like, oh my God, Kai opened my Snap. And then I received a message a minute later, and he said, hey, I'm so sorry, I opened it too fast. Would you send me another picture again? So I promise you you'll be in the video.
Right. And so were you flattered by that?
I was very flattered.
And where did the conversation go from there? How did it progress?
When I sent him a picture, he went, oh my God, you're very cute. And again,
you're very cute.
Yes.
Kai said you're very cute.
Yes. And this was one of my celebrity crushes. And I said, oh my God, thank you so much. And we kind of started talking about that. We kind of started talking about like bands and stuff, because we got that's how we first started bonding over, was bands.
So you're talking about bands. Kai says you're cute.
Yes.
Kai finds you attractive. You're what, 17 at this point?
Yes.
And you're living at home, thinking about college. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And where are you emotionally in terms of transitioning from being a young woman into being a young man? At that point.
This was when I finally started telling people who were close to me that I was about to start transitioning. I was very, I finally accepted myself, because I was also going through the phase where I thought, this is just a phase. This is going to pass through.
Right.
And when I finally was like, this is not a phase. This is who I truly am. I was in that point where I was like, okay, I want to start transitioning, but transitioning is a lot of money.
Did you think you were, looking back, rather vulnerable at this point?
Yes.
And so you continue this conversation with Kai. How serious did it get in terms of any sort of romantic interest?
We sent pictures. I know we sent pictures.
And when you say pictures, were they suggestive, romantic? How would you characterize it?
He was like going quote unquote. He's like, he would send me pictures collarbones up, and I would do the same, but you can tell that neither of us was wearing a top at this time. And he would kind of push me for pictures where you could see this area, and I kept going that my dysphoria is through the roof. I don't feel comfortable. But there was a point where I did send him a topless picture where you could see this, but I scribbled this out.
Right. So I can't see you because of the lighting. So you sent a picture at Kai's request to Kai of you topless.
Yes. Because I felt bad because he kind of made me feel bad. He was like, if you really liked me, you would do this. He's like, I promise nobody else would see it. Don't worry about it.
If you really liked me, you would send me a topless photo.
Yes. Because he's like, I'll send you a photo if you send me a photo.
And did Kai send you a topless photo as well?
Yes, but he did the same thing I did where he scribbled it out.
So how did you feel photographing yourself, your bare breasts, and then sending that picture to Kai? Was it risky in your mind?
I felt disgusted after, because I remember being in school and stuff that, like, if you sent provocative photos, it might haunt you one day. And a part of me was very terrified about it, because I was very dysphoric. I still am dysphoric, and me sending a picture like that is very like, it's not, no.
When did Onision come into the picture? This started, and correct me if I'm wrong, this started pretty much between you and Kai. When did Onision start contacting you? When did that discussion begin?
He never contacted me like one-on-one, but there was points like in the beginning, like the first month, Kai did ask me that question. He's like, how would you feel if you were in a relationship with both of us? And
so Kai first initiated the discussion about you being in a relationship with both Kai and Onision.
Yes, it was through Snapchat text, and I don't know if it was him or Greg at this point. Like, now I look back, I don't even know if it was him. I probably was Greg. He said, how would you feel if Greg joined our relationship? And I straight up said, I'm not comfortable with that. I don't care what people do behind doors, but I personally, in my opinion, I don't want to be in a two-way relationship. I am very comfortable with just being with that one person and that one person only. And at first they were very or he was very accepting. He was like, yeah, I understand, don't worry. Later he kept pushing it more and more, and then he got angrier after that. So
let's take this apart here for a minute. So how did you feel when Kai, or potentially Greg using Kai's identity, and we know he does this and has done it, suggested to you, and it was either Kai or Greg, there's no doubt about that, to get into a three-way relationship with them? How did that strike you?
At first I didn't think anything of it, because I know that they were in a free relationship with Billy before, and I thought, I don't know why, but the part of me thought that part of me almost like, what I was thinking about, I was like, they're both very attractive people. I'm mostly
famous, they're on YouTube, they're celebrities,
and I'm mostly attractive to Kai. So I was like, because Kai was definitely type of girl that I was. I apologize now for people. Kai was the quote unquote type of girl that I was very attracted to back then. The short pixie cut, dyed hair and the piercings, and I was like, yeah. And then I look at Greg, and I have to remind myself that he was in his 30s, and I was like, well, I don't really find you that attractive, Greg. I apologize.
Did they get mad at you when you said you didn't want to be in a three-way relationship?
At first, no. But when I kept declining it, they kind of got more annoyed and angry.
And how many times did they come back at you, Adam, and say, what about this? What about being in a relationship with both of us? What about, being in a relationship with me, meaning Kai, and Greg joining in too? Did it seem like they were trying to wear you down a little bit?
Yes. The amount of times they asked me, I think I stopped counting after the 8th time.
8th time?
Yeah.
And what did you tell them when you said you weren't comfortable with that? That wasn't your thing. You wanted to be in a relationship with just one person. How did they counter that? And did it seem like they're trying to coax you, to groom you into accepting this idea of a three-way?
They started saying, well, oh, statistics shown. So this was when I thought this was probably most likely Greg. He was like, statistics shown that three-way, like polyamorous relationships are a lot happier and healthier, and they have more trust with each other. And it's not quote unquote cheating because you're both with the people and you apparently love both people very much.
And you had never met either Kai or Greg Onision in person before, right? This is all over the internet, all digital, all texting, all Snapchat, all online.
Yes.
Did you ever get on the phone with either of them?
I got on the Snapchat has a Snapchat audio where you could call or video chat with somebody. So I did both with Kai multiple times before on my old platform.
And did you feel comfortable talking to Kai during those conversations?
Yes.
And did Kai ever say to you, you ought to think about coming out here to Washington State where they lived?
Yes.
And how did Kai phrase that, if you remember?
He said, oh, you're a senior in high school now. You're entering your senior year. You're looking at colleges. Wouldn't it be so cool if you looked at colleges in Washington? Like, wouldn't it be so cool if you looked at colleges near me so we can hang out and not worry about your parents or anybody finding out?
How important was it to Kai and Greg Onision that you didn't say anything to your parents? It sounds like they were almost trying to get you to key in on going to college in Washington State to be near them and not have your parents involved in this. And I get to this point because in interviewing some of the other victims, the parents who knew more about Greg and Kai were the parents who put up more of a fight in terms of letting their kids go live with them.
Yes. Kai was very persistent about me looking at colleges, and he would ask me every time we would talk. He's like, "Did you apply to colleges? Did you look at colleges in this current place where I live?" And I was like, "Yeah, I did. I applied, and I was actually accepted to a college near where they lived."
How close did you come to actually trying to go out there to college in Washington State?
Very.
You almost went.
I almost went. I almost disrespected my parents and went.
And what do you think would have happened had you gone out there?
I probably would have been more miserable, to be honest.
More miserable in terms of what?
Well, being apart, family means the world to me. So being apart from my family would have hurt me a lot. But as I see what more and more Kai and Greg's victims now, who I 100% respect very much, I seen what they did to Billy. I seen what they did to Isla. I not gonna lie, I was such a huge fan of Onision and Kai that I was pissed at Billy for a while because I was like, how could you do that to Kai and them?
Wait. You were such a fan
yes.
of Kai and Onision that you were upset at Billy?
Yes.
For what?
For hurting Kai.
for hurting Kai. And at the end of the day, and today we all know this, looking at it rationally, Billy was victimized by Onision and Kai, just like so many others. But you were at the time upset with Billy?
Yes, because I thought Billy, like, I didn't watch Billy's side of the story. Like, now I understand what happened, and now I feel so bad because I was so mad at her. Like, I am an example of, like, one of Onision's victims who was very mad at Billy and who was, like, very angry. Like, how could you do that to Kai? Like, I could have really cared less about Onision now, but I was like, how could you do that to Kai? Like, Kai did nothing wrong to you. You really was about to ruin a marriage. And now I see it's Onision manipulating people. And, like, that's...
Was Greg Onision trying to manipulate you in that same way to come out there and have a three-way relationship with him and Kai?
Yes.
No question in your mind looking back?
No question.
What ultimately made you finally say, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not coming out there. I'm no longer going to have a relationship with you online. Certainly not in person. I'm done. What was the final straw?
I should have saw the signs earlier, but when I was 16, I was in a relationship with a much older man than me. I still talk to the man today. I won't say his name out of respect for him. And he looks back and he said, he said, I should have really talked to you at that age because, oh my God, I was wrong. But at the age of consent in Florida is 16. If you're younger than 23 and the person is 16, then...
Right, it's legal. It doesn't make it right necessarily emotionally or psychologically, but it's legally.
I still talk to the person today on time to time. He's a dad now and stuff. And he said, oh my God, I shouldn't talk to you at that young age. And when we broke up, Kai got mad at me because they thought I was playing him.
Kai thought you were playing
with my ex-boyfriend's emotions.
Is this a situation where Kai and Greg try to get as much personal information, as much intimate detail out of somebody like you, and then turn around and use it against you to try to manipulate you?
Yes.
Tell me how that happened with you. What did they use? What did they find out about you that they used to try to manipulate you?
My favorite bands, they used that against me. They used my gender identity, my disorder. They used my disorder against me.
And you were honest with Kai and shared all this, the fact that you wanted to transition from being born a girl into being a male.
Yes.
Do you feel like you actually bore your soul to Kai? Like told Kai your deepest secrets, fears, thoughts, feelings?
Yes.
And how were you repaid for this, for sharing this information, the most intimate details of your life?
Sometimes when it came to my disorder, which I don't keep a secret now, but back then I didn't tell people I wore wigs because I have alopecia, which means it's hard to grow hair.
Right. Alopecia, for anybody who doesn't know in the audience, is a medical condition. I've known people with it. I've done stories in relation to it over the years. You just, for whatever combination of reasons, your body doesn't grow hair, and it can happen overnight. It can be related to a neurological disorder. It can be a lot of different things, and it's tough for somebody of that age to deal with. And you told Kai about this.
Yes, and I kept it a secret because I was ashamed at this time that I wore wigs.
I know this is hard. Take your time.
Sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. It's a lot to deal with.
He told his fan base, and he kind of...
Wait. So you shared this information with Kai, and Kai told the fan base?
At first, he did it as like an accident. Like when I first appeared in one of his videos, he said, "Oh, I love your wig." When I told him, "Please don't say it's a wig," I'm very sensitive about that. He still said, "Oh, I love your wig." He's like, "Is that a wig?" "Oh, I don't know. It's so vivid and white." And like I I quickly defended myself. I was like, "No, that's not a wig. That's my actual hair and stuff." And then he continued to like tell people that, and his fan base was like, "Why don't you just admit you wore a wig?" And I'm like, being 17 and being bold, it's like hard because you're very insecure about your like looks.
I mean, that's one of the most vulnerable ages of adolescence with something like that.
I'm like, being bullied in real life over it. It's like I turned to the internet as like a support. Like people couldn't judge you as much if they didn't know what happened. Sorry.
It's all right. Take your time.
But yeah.
How did Kai react when you said, "Hey, don't tell people that. This is something I've had a difficult time coping with. Something I really don't need other people to know." And you've put this out there in a very public forum. This is, their fan base, which is a big, big, big group of people.
The first time he apologized the first time. He's like, "Don't worry, it'll blow over soon. Don't worry."
It'll blow over soon. One of the deepest, most intimate details of your life, and Kai says it'll blow over soon, just like that. Like, you wore mismatching shoes or something.
Yeah.
Did you think then that maybe these weren't people you should be associating with?
I was angry, but growing up, I was always taught to forgive or forget, and that like, oh, people make mistakes. And to me, I was like, well, I really like this person. I kind of want to continue to talk to them, so I'm going to like just forgive and forget.
Do you think, looking back, that Kai and Greg use this information to try to manipulate you to get in your head a little bit?
Yes.
And did it work?
Yes.
And you felt like you were so connected to these people because they knew so much about you that you couldn't get away from them in some respects.
Yeah, because Kai also, again, he made a comment towards me about this. He's like, "You should be really lucky, like I'm talking to you and stuff, because I don't think many people are attracted to people who have alopecia and like wear wigs and stuff." And I have a partner who is the best person in my entire life, and he means the world to me. And I straight up told him on our first date that I wear wigs and stuff, and he makes jokes, but like harmless jokes, really. And
Right. Well, that's a different relationship. It sounds like they were using that to kind of beat you up a little bit and make you more vulnerable to what they wanted you to do. Like, you see so many times in abusive relationships and the recounting of the stories, nobody else will love you because of this. We're the only ones that will care for you because you have this condition. Is that kind of the way it was going down?
yes.
So what is it that finally made you say, Adam, I'm done. This is enough. I just can't do this anymore.
When he just stopped messaging me back. Like the first time I got ghosted, it took a while for him to message me back. And when he did message me back, I kind of went through this like cycle where I was mad at him. And then when he messaged me back, explaining himself, I was like, "Oh, I can't be mad at you no more." And then finally, I think after the sixth, seventh time being ghosted, I just looked in the mirror and I was just like, you know what? I don't need this. I have friends who love me, and I have people who love and respect me.
Did you send a goodbye message to them ultimately?
Yes.
And what did you say in that message?
I told Kai, I said to Kai, I try to remember what I said. I said to him, "You've hurt me, and you hurt me, Kai. I wish you knew that. I apologize if I'm coming off very angry. but you've hurt me in so many ways. I just want you to know that I don't hate you, which is a lie now. I don't hate you. I honestly considered you as a friend, really. Even if you didn't see me as romantic anymore, I still considered you as my friend. And I just want nothing but the best for you.
And did you ever hear from them again?
No.
Was there a point when they bullied or harassed or berated you in any of these forums or on YouTube or anything like that? Did they take off after you?
On the forums, I don't know, but the second time his fan base, before we stopped talking, his fan base attacked me twice. One for not admitting that I wore wigs, and then the second time because people kind of figured out that me and him were talking.
So they attacked you. Take me back. They attacked you one time for what again?
For not admitting that I wore wigs.
So the fan base attacked you for not admitting that you wore wigs to deal with a medical condition.
Yes.
And who do you blame for that? The attack, I mean.
I don't blame myself for that. I blame Kai because I did message him asking him if he could tell his fan base to stop. This hurts. He said it'll blow over this soon. Second time when people learned that me and Kai were talking, they found my Tumblr at this time and they sent me like hate messages and messages to go like end my life and like, oh, how could Kai see something in you and like all this stuff. And when I messaged him again saying, hey, your fan base are doing this again, can you please like stop it? He just ignored it.
So they lured you in, got you fired up, got you into this fan base, got you involved in an online romantic relationship, coaxed you into sending sexually explicit pictures, sharing the deepest, darkest secrets of your life. And when you wouldn't get involved in a three-way relationship, they cast you off.
Yes. This was also when I changed my antidepressants. And with different antidepressants, there are some, I don't know if it's true or not. There are mine's this new one that I currently used to take made me gain a lot of weight. I used to be very, I hate this word. I used to be very quote unquote skinny when I met Kai, and because of my antidepressants, I gained a lot of weight. And it was also towards the end when Kai would stop like not reply back to me.
How many other Adams do you think Kai and Greg were communicating with at the same time they were talking to you, suggesting romantic relationships, soliciting sexually explicit pictures?
I don't know. That's the scary thing. I don't know. It's awful to say this. I wished it was only me because I'm just one person who can like, I was just the only person that they do it to. But I know there's more, and that's the scary thing. As you see, the other victims came out, and they didn't even know how much there were.
Do you talk to some of the other victims? Shiloh, Regina, Billy?
Yes.
Lane?
I talk to Lane and Regina. Sometimes they're nice. They're all the girls who talked before me are very lovely people. Even if I never communicated with most of them, they're very strong and very beautiful. And I kind of want to thank them for giving me like the strength to come out too.
This was a difficult decision for you to come on this show and to talk publicly about this. You've got a lot going on in your life right now. You're in college. You're transitioning.
Yeah.
You have some very serious decisions to make about medical procedures, psychological procedures. Why did you ultimately say, okay, I'm going to sit down and do this interview and put myself out there in this very, very brave way?
I was listening to music and I got the opportunity to be on the show, and a part of me was scared to like delete all my social media again because I had to delete all my social media after this whole Kai fiasco. And I like ultimately made a decision. I was like, you know what? I don't want to be scared anymore. Who knows how I'm hoping that other male victims, because I know there are other male victims out there. I can't be the only one. It shows me showing it's proof that Kai and James go after other trans males, and I hope that like me coming out will help them come out too.
How many other Adams do you think are out there as we have this discussion tonight?
I don't know. That's the scary thing. I don't know.
When you talk to some of the other victims, Regina, Lane, what do you guys talk about? And does it help you to cope with all this?
With Lane, we talk about Queen. We talk about we talk about music, me and Lane, because like we bonded over Queen. With Regina, Regina's like, well, I'm sorry, she's not. They're like the parent, really. Like they're like the older sibling, because Regina is older than me. Like they're the older sibling that like I love having, because they're so supportive and so like open, and they are very they were the first person I told about this, like when everybody was coming out. I messaged Regina because I felt like I could trust them the most. I didn't know why, but I automatically felt like I could trust them the most.
Do you see them as a support group?
I see them as family.
As family?
As family, because like they honestly are the nicest group of people you would ever meet in your life.
All of whom have one thing in common.
Sadly, yes, but like when you like we also like when you also look over, like they're not just victims, they're also like daughters and sisters and like children and siblings who not only got messed up, but they also have their own dreams and aspirations, and I love seeing them thrive after this whole fiasco. They show that they are good on their own and they are thriving without Onision and Kai. Like they're much better.
What did this entire ordeal with Onision and Kai take away from you?
They took my trust. It took me a long time to start trusting people again after that.
Obviously, Onision and Kai, at some level, are in this. There's still a YouTube channel that Onision has, where he does all kinds of things. I still don't understand why so many other YouTube channels are being sanctioned over the use of certain words that are not forbidden anywhere else, but apparently trip YouTube's algorithm. They're being sanctioned. Yet, in a recent video, Onision shows his private parts on a video, and there's no issue there. He attacks people on his YouTube channel, berates them, harasses, violates stated YouTube policies, yet nothing happens, apparently. Other people who are content creators are sanctioned left and right, yet he gets away with it. Two-part question, and I'll ask this first. Why do you think he gets away with this on YouTube? On the very forum on which we're speaking now?
To be honest, I don't know, but there was a time where YouTube would mark LGBT content as like not safe for work or something like that. Like there was a couple of tests people did. YouTube went very downhill after the whole, like I don't want to get you banned, but after the current CEO was currently on, YouTube's just been going downhill.
Yeah. Now, obviously, as I was getting to before, Kai and Onision make a lot of money, have made a lot of money on YouTube. But what do you think they were really after here, given what you know about your experience and the experience that the other victims have had? Billy, Isla, Lane, Shiloh, Sarah.
Power. I feel like they love having like that power of control over somebody, and Onision especially, he loved having that power. He tried starting his own religion or cult, I think, once before.
Is this a cult, do you think?
Yes.
Is it dangerous?
Very. if you messed with Onision before, like before this whole incident broke out, I think if you messed with him before, he'd make sure you like never wanted to be back on the internet again.
Do you think that he'll retaliate against you for being on the show tonight if he figures out exactly who you are? And I'm sure he probably can.
I think he'll deny it, really. I think that's just like safest bet to like deny everything, because that's how people usually would go, as they would like just deny and deny and deny. And with Kai, I feel like it's better for Kai just to stay off the internet.
How much do you think this is about money? How much is it about sex? And how much is it about power?
For Onision, I feel like it's all three. He's very money hungry. He obviously loves having like that power of control over somebody. And when it comes to sex, yeah, I can see him enjoying that a lot. He admitted to jacking off to hentai a lot. So
Admitted that this was about getting
off with hentai.
right.
And hentai usually, I think the hentai he usually watches is includes like very young looking girls.
Why do you think they targeted you, Adam?
I think I was Kai's type at this time. Kai was very into like the emo, like the colored hair, the band shirts, and I had white hair. I wore a lot of black band shirts. I had the bracelets. I was the typical emo kid back then.
And that fit into the profile of what you wanted.
Yeah.
If Kai is listening to this right now, what do you say to Kai?
You've hurt me in a way that nobody hurt me before. You took my trust and you just crushed it with a hand. Kai, like I said before, I was raised to forgive and forget. I don't think I could forgive or forget you, because what you did to me took years and years. Like I still talk to my therapist about you.
And what do you say when you talk to your therapist about Kai?
I talked to him. I talked to him about like the whole incident and stuff, and he has to constantly remind me that it's not my fault.
I think, and I'm not a therapist certainly, but it seems to me that I think all of the victims have to constantly remind yourselves that it's not your fault and that you didn't do anything wrong. You were merely vulnerable adolescents who were a little bit starstruck and got lured into a situation that you were unable to properly cope with, at least initially, until you finally figured out that these people were out to harm you. What do you say to Greg tonight as we speak live here on the show?
Greg, go to therapy. Obviously, you have problems in your life too. You obviously have some issues you need to talk about. Go to therapy, get off the internet, go get help. I hate saying this. I believe maybe there's a chance for you and Kai, because I try seeing the good in people, even people I hate. I try seeing the good in people, and I feel like maybe there's something that can help you.
The FBI is investigating a number of things in relation to Onision and Kai, one of which is the transmission of what is considered child porn. There's some evidence of that, physical evidence. Enticement, which is a very broad federal violation. Do you think that Onision and Kai should face criminal charges?
Yeah.
And do you think that they should go to prison and pay for those crimes, alleged crimes?
Yes. I feel like both Kai and Onision should go to prison for what they had did to everybody that they have hurt in the end, and hopefully they get the help they need, obviously, in there.
How do you feel about them having two little kids in that house?
I fear for those kids. When I used to video chat or like on the call with Kai, there was times when I hear Onision yelling and screaming in the background, and a part of me just prayed that it was just for skits, that he wouldn't really yell at the kids, because the way he yelled at it was very, very violent.
Violent in what sort of way?
He would, oh my god, he would scream slurs and insults at them, and it just gave me haunting like flashbacks to like,
At the kids, he would.
I don't know. Kai would flinch a few times, but he wouldn't say anything. A part of me just hoped. I think Kai also hoped it was just for his skits, but when I like tried looking at finding the skits, I couldn't find them. So I'm honestly terrified for those kids. I want them to just know that.
How much responsibility, Adam, do you think YouTube has here for all of this?
They have a lot of responsibility. They're not responsible for what Onision does, but they're responsible for keeping him on the platform and stuff. They need to, if they're so quick to get rid of. It was the old CEO who was so quick to get rid of Sam Pepper off YouTube like automatically, and when it came to like Austin Jones, they automatically got his channel off because it was also during his case trial. I feel like with Onision, they won't do anything unless the case trial happens, of court.
Unless he's brought to trial. Austin Jones obviously was accused of and charged federally and ultimately pleaded guilty to soliciting underage women on his YouTube channel. He's a bit of a musician. Sam Pepper was another YouTuber who was accused of wrongdoing and enticement.
They're also a predator that's still on the channel that they have yet to get rid of. And it's not Onision. And I feel like because he was never brought to court and stuff, he's still free to go along with it.
Onision's still on and monetized today, just like this channel is. Does that make any sense to you?
No. What I don't get is that you could, if I like kissed my partner in a YouTube video, I automatically get demonetized. But like Onision is allowed to show his private parts to like his underage audience, and he's automatically monetized. That doesn't make sense.
What kind of an audience do you think that Onision and Kai still have? Do they still have popularity, or has this entire scandal brought them down to a point where they're not as significant as they once were?
I think the scandal actually brought Onision back to the limelight because he was obviously not getting many views before this whole scandal broke out, and when it did, his views went from like 10,000 to like 200,000, and he only gets those views when he's talking about like Eugenia Cooney or Shane Dawson or like his exes or something like that.
Right. So if you could say anything to YouTube tonight, what would you say?
I have been on your platform since I was 6 years old. I'm almost 20 now. How you had demonetized my videos to the point where I stopped being a creator on your platform, but you're still going to monetize him? Do you see how many of us found him through your site? Like, do you see how many victims there was from Austin Jones, Sam Pepper's V1? Like, are you not going to do anything about this?
What should YouTube do?
Delete Kai's and Onision's channels first, because I don't know how many more victims there are out there, and I'm too afraid to figure out at this point. And oh my god, I'm gonna get banned. Get a new CEO. Get somebody who obviously cares about what YouTube originally stood for. because I have siblings who are. I have a brother who's like around like just turned the age I first started watching Onision, and I worry that maybe this will happen to him, or I worried about like my other younger siblings. Like, is this going to happen to them? Like, I want to protect them, and I'm afraid that like he's very secretive now because he's at that age where he needs his privacy and space, and I understand it. And I'm afraid that like it might be too late.
How many people in your family have you shared your experience with?
One,
And who's that?
my grandmother.
And why only your grandmother?
She raised me and my siblings to show. I knew she wasn't going to judge me or blame me automatically. I think that's still my biggest fear is for my parents. I'm afraid of disappointing them. And with my grandmother, she was taught and raised me and my siblings that she'll never judge us. She'll still love us no matter what, as long as we didn't do anything illegal or anything. And I got drunk and I just, that's not a good example, but I got drunk and I just blurted it all out.
And what did your grandmother say to you? How did she react to all this?
She was very calm and then she got very angry. She was calm at me and she was angry at Greg because she was like, you are not the one to blame. This man and his partner, they were in their 20s and 30s respectively. They should have known better than to talk to a minor.
What do you say, Adam, to other parents who might be listening to this and watching this tonight about monitoring their young teens' activity on YouTube or on any other social media platform where their creators are vastly unregulated?
Your kids might hate you now. They might think you're invading their privacy, but later in life, I believe they will thank you. That doesn't mean automatically go and check their phones like every day, but like please warn your kids about who's on the internet because I didn't think it was going to happen to me, and it did, and I don't want it to happen to anybody else. I wouldn't wish this even upon my worst enemies.
And if there are any other victims out there tonight watching this, Adam, what do you say to them in terms of coming forward and telling their stories, no matter how painful or embarrassing they may be?
You are not alone. You have the choice to come or not, and if you choose not to come, I totally 100% understand. If you choose through to come, you are helping bring Onion Boy down. And if you need anybody to talk to, I am just a call or text away. I promise I won't judge you. Even to fans of Onision, if you're watching this, I am very open to talk to you and have a subtle conversation. I won't yell. I won't curse. We will have a one-on-one adult conversation. If you respect me, I will respect you despite not agreeing with what you like and not like.
Is there anything else you want people to know about your experience, about Kai, about Onision, about YouTube?
Be safe. The people you idolize probably are not what you think they are. I thought Kai was this amazing person, and I had so much love and respect for him, and he proved it. It's probably not the real him. The people you see behind the screen, most of the time, it's not the real them.
Adam, I appreciate you being on the show tonight. You're very brave. I wish you all the best with your continued transition with your education at college. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the holiday season and a happy new year. Don't be a stranger. We'll stay in touch with you, and we will stay on this story. Adam, thanks again for being on the program tonight. I want to let you guys know a couple of things as we wrap up. Back in contact with the FBI. As you know, it's a holiday week. Things move slow, but they are moving. The investigation is proceeding. As I've mentioned before, Onision and Kai were on the FBI's radar prior to are reporting on all this, and it is only, I think, made it a little bit more of an urgent issue. Obviously, the FBI doesn't run on our timetable; it runs on its investigative timetable. But I think it's not a bad thing necessarily that we are onto it as well. In terms of YouTube, reached out again to Susan Wojcicki, the CEO's media department. Again, let's remember it is a holiday week. Still no commitment to do an interview. I see that she has been out doing other interviews, and it appears that when they do these interviews, they try to pick a safe environment, maybe a content creator or a forum in which they're not going to get a lot of difficult questions. And I want them to know, if they're listening tonight, that, I will create a very fair and open environment in which they can speak. And I would like to have them come on and talk about overall strategy to keep people safe from those who prey on others on YouTube. They have a lot riding on this, and I just like to have a conversation about it. Statements have been issued. We've been referred to those. It's easy to put out a couple paragraphs of basic stuff. That's what they've done. So I think if they were serious about it, they would come on the show and talk about it. So we will see. I will keep on it. Again, they make appearances on other shows where it's a little more lighthearted, but I think this is very important. I, as always, want to thank Vincent Nicotra, my web producer, for helping put all this together and working throughout the week. And to you, sir, a happy holiday season. As you know, we've talked before about all that. And also mention that StreamYard and post streams are a part of this, helping us to put this show together with the graphics and the format that I think look pretty darn good, Vincent. So everybody should also know that because next Wednesday, when we usually do the show, is New Year's Day, we're gonna postpone the show and move it to the 2nd of January, again on Thursday, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern. We have another interview that promises to be riveting, another alleged victim of Onision and Kai with a different twist on it, and I'll get into that on social media as we get closer. But thank you all for watching. A pleasant, wonderful holiday to you, a happy, peaceful new year, and I'll see you when we take a seat again next week.
Have a good night, everyone.
Remember, I'll be watching. Take care.